For years, I've often thought about how I've been raised with a clear idea of what success should be in America. Home ownership, a stable career, and a family. Now, a family is a beautiful thing. But the other two, they never sat right with me. Somewhere along the way, home ownership and a stable career stopped being tools, and they started being the entire point. And what that produced wasn't freedom that many of our forefathers fought and died for. It produced a lot of good people stuck on the hamster wheel, working non-stop, usually to make someone else wealthy. Owning a home just to fit in the system, and constantly grinding without even making sense of the grind. So life becomes about just getting through the week, for the family vacation, throwing a bounce house birthday party, or mindlessly consuming content without creating anything of our own. While inflation rises, salaries stay flat, and meaning quietly slips away. And what do? We complain about the system, the government, the evil billionaires, how everything's rigged against us. I got caught in that trap. And that's why I started making these videos. Not because I had all the answers, but because I was just thinking out loud about all these issues. The raising housing prices, homelessness, debt, the education system, healthcare, tariffs, war and economics, national debt, immigration. And all the while as I'm making these movies, I'm thinking, what could I do? What could we all do to make things better instead of just pointing fingers? And then it hit me. What if America started building again? And I don't mean that in the generic sense, where we all sit home and watch the news and say, yes, we need to build America back up like we were the pioneers back in the day. No, each individual needs to focus on building America to make it a better place. We're not buying a home to keep up with the neighbors, or to manicure our lawns, or to spray chemicals, blow leaves, and sterilize the land till nothing else lives on it. But to grow food, to raise animals, to build skills, share value, trade with our neighbors, contribute something meaningful, heck, invent something in our garage. We create a nation of builders. Because think about it. When people build, communities are formed, economies stabilize, and we're not dependent on our government. And America doesn't have to cry for someone else to save us. We as individuals save ourselves. As I've dissected all these issues in past videos and thought about this idea of becoming builders again, I came to realize that a lot of our problems are connected. Homelessness is about people with no roots. Affordable housing becomes homes becoming speculative assets instead of becoming a place to live and to grow. Recently, I have seen improvements in our education system, but historically, our education system has trained students to consume information. We need to create students who can build and repair things. Healthcare has exploded because we live disconnected in sedentary lifestyles. Trade and tariffs become emotional because we rely on other countries for basic needs. We found that out during the pandemic. And also, we rely on other countries to uphold our pampered lifestyle. Sometimes we have to tighten the belt and get things done without the luxuries. National debt explodes when we stop making things and start paying for everything with borrowed money. These are all symptoms of one deeper problem. We stop building things we can stand on. Historically, homes weren't just shelters. They were places of production, places where skills were passed down from generation to generation, and food was grown. Things were repaired. Neighbors traded labor for goods, and kids learned responsibility for doing something real. Now, homes are just places of constant consumption. We outsource our food, repairs, fitness, creativity, even meaning, and we wonder why we're disconnected, anxious, and powerless. I want to be clear about this. It's not about going off grid, escaping from society, being anti-tech and anti-city. In fact, technology plays a huge part in this vision I have. Some of the most important innovators of the future are going to be innovating their garage, designing software, building tools, creating art, solving problems. So this isn't about detaching, it's about re-anchoring. To do my part to help build back a better America, I envision a homestead, not as an escape, but more of a prototype. And I'm going to start small. I already have, right here in my LA apartment. I'm growing vegetables on my porch. I compost my wasted materials. I ferment my own vegetables. I brew my own kombucha. And eventually, I put money aside to purchase land to start that homestead. I'm going to raise animals ethically. I'll continue to compost there. I'll barter with my neighbors. And I've got big plans from there. I see myself and my neighbors applying regenerative principles to make the land healthier each year rather than more sterile. We're not just living on the land, we're making it better for the next generation. One neighbor grows fruit trees or raises cattle, sheep. Another neighbor is a carpenter. Another is a welder or a plumber. Some are athletes. They train, they coach, they help instill discipline. Others are creatives. They're filmmakers, painters, musicians. And then you got the techies who are designing new software, hardware, tools for a better future. We're all bartering, selling, working together. Homelessness goes down because homes regain purpose and community supports growth. Education improves because skills matter again. Students are creating, not just consuming. Healthcare drops because people have community. They're moving, they're eating whole food, and they're outdoors. Local economies are strengthened because value is created nearby. Trade becomes healthier, not because we're totally self-sufficient, but because we're less desperate and dependent. Debt becomes more manageable because we're actually making real things to support the way we're living, and we're not reliant on government. Nations that can feed themselves, build things, and repair things when they break are harder to coerce. We can trade when we want to, not when there's no other alternative. A strong local foundation builds calmer global relations. That's peace through confidence. A stronger nation. It's a nation of builders. I just shared my vision. It's very ambitious. You don't need to go the homestead route. You don't need land. You don't need animals. If you're in an apartment, build something. If you're in a city, lay the groundwork for a strong, stable community. If you're a techie, build something of value. An athlete, a health guru, share your knowledge so that others know what it's like to feel the way you do. Build something to make America a better, stronger nation. America is at a crossroads. A lot of people will tell you America's going down. But nations don't just collapse. They collapse when people stop building. Yes, we have a high debt. We're involved in a lot of wars. Our politics are polarized. Social media and the mainstream news is keeping us angry and fighting against one another. We've been distracted for too long, waiting for government to bail us out. But no government can replace a responsible, capable, and grounded society. We got to stop outsourcing our responsibility and start building from where we're at. Let me know what you're going to start building today. Or let me know what you disagreed with in this video. Or better yet, let me know what inspired you. Leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.